Check, check, check. Check 1 2 1 2. Vader Games in the building. Make sure my levels are clean. Big Morgan's already in the building. What it is. All right. Let me know in the chat real quick if everything is nice and clean. Let me got this going over here. The Mancunian away goes. The boss is here. We got it. We got it going on. Forgive me for my voice. This will be it's going to be a good show. Good show. Short and concise. There was a lot that happened yesterday. And you know what? I'm going to let the room fill up real quick, but I am going to address a few matters. I've been working behind the scenes with a really cool show idea. I'm hoping that it can actually debut. If it can debut on Sunday, I'm gonna make it happen. But there's things behind the scenes that I need to shore up. So please, if you're new to this channel, again, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification button so you know when I'm live. Follow me on Twitter so you're aware of anything that new that happens. All right, make sure you do that. Mancunian way goes. Ready when you are, mate. Let me do intro first. No problem. So you see the topics there on the screen. That's what I'm going to run through. That's exactly what I'm going to run through. Big game last night. Huge game last night, and we're gonna break it down. We're not gonna dissect it too much because obviously there's other channels that really go in depth with some of the tactical moves and things of that nature. But we are gonna talk. We are gonna talk about the game, of course. So first things first. My peeps come first. You always come first. You know what you have to do. You're new. Subscribe. You've been here before. Be in the comments. Let me know what's on your mind. Let's have this conversation. And share it. Share it within your group chat. Share it with amongst your peeps. The more the merrier. I want again, love to everyone that's been subscribing. We're now, I think I'm at 218, and every time I see that number grow, I'm humbly thankful. And let me put this out real quick. Mancunian away. Yeah, I sent it in the pitch points link. Or chat. One sec. Let me see here. So let me do a proper intro and we're going to get this show popping off. Okay, I got my peeps hitting me up for the link to the show, so I'm gonna send that off real quick. Bear with me, and then we're gonna get right into it. And another one. I gotta clean up my DMs to be real with you. I'm not finding things as easily as I need to, but I guess that's a good problem to have. Yeah, there we go. Cool. All right. Now, I'm only going to be going for about top of the hour. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get into it proper. And I see a few comments, so let me make sure I shout those out. So I sent it to you directly, Martin, in your Twitter DMs, and Pablo, I see my guy sent that out to you as well. Now, before they join, let me get right into it. And this first topic, you see it there on the screen. This first topic, I'm gonna get into City versus Arsenal. My point of view, difference in class. And I see Martin. I'm gonna bring him from backstage shortly after I say this. Every City fan, every Arsenal fan, even neutrals, I know you were all watching. All right, this game was a Premier League game happening on Wednesday, which is Champions League night. And this is what's wild, and I'm going to be looking forward to hearing Martin's point of view as well as Pablo's. But how crazy is it that the attention of this Premier League game was superseding, was of greater interest than the Champions League matches. No disrespect to the other Champions League games, but I believe both of them were 1-0 games. And I get it. A 1-0 game doesn't necessarily mean that there wasn't excitement and tension and good drama. But the football world's eyes were focused on Premier League leading Arsenal and defending champs Manchester City. All the eyes were on them yesterday. And for me, that game took place at 2:30 in the afternoon. I know it would have been 7:30 out there for you guys across the pond. But this game and the magnitude of it, the buildup was huge, was absolutely huge. I myself could not sit down and watch the game. I'm standing and watching it. And again, I got to multitask throughout the day because it's in the middle of the day. But that game was absolutely box office, blockbuster. It satisfied everything from a football fan point of view. Tension, drama, yellow cards, managers wiling out. It was absolutely nuts. And I'm gonna bring Martin into the mix, but this is the first topic that I have on screen, and I want to point out my opinion, looking at it from top to bottom. City versus Arsenal displayed. There was a clear display of the difference between the two clubs, between the two managers, from a class point of view. I would even dare argue from a fan point of view. There was a difference in class. I'm gonna bring Martin onto the stage as I get to these topics. Martin, thanks for joining today, my guy. How you doing?
Evening. Not so bad, mate.
Good to have you. Good to have you. So I put that on screen, and I'm gonna go to the comments, but I just put it on screen. City versus Arsenal, difference in class. When you hear that statement, what kind of comes to mind to you? What would you point out?
Yes, there is a difference in class. I want to be careful because I do want to give Arsenal props.
Okay, what do you want to give them props? What do you want to give them props?
Because my issue yesterday wasn't ever with Arsenal fans. Arsenal fans have got a right to crow. To get 51 points at this stage for that team, it is outstanding, and they've been on fire. My issue, and I think I said it on Pat's channel yesterday, even on my own, it was with some of our own fans with the crisis, and we were in a mess and everything else. At the end of the day, cream goes to the top, and you can't count for experience. And yesterday, our lads stood up and were counted. Every single one of them from 1 to 11 was just, they were there and they showed their class. And even in the face of adversity in parts of the game, which I know you'll probably get into, we didn't let it bother us.
Right.
I think that there was a difference in class. I think there was a difference in experience as well.
I agree.
You cannot. There's nothing you can do for being there and done it for 4 years. And you can't take that experience away.
Martin, I'm going to correct you right there, because it's not the 4 years, it's the 5. And the reason why I want to say the 5 is because you actually grow in experience. You actually develop and learn from failure. So the fact that we also had a season where we didn't win it, right? That season where Liverpool were able to win the title, that also has a
I don't count that season.
Character.
I don't count it because it was of the C word.
I got you.
It was a weird season.
It was a very weird season, but those experiences in themselves are character building. They provide experience, and those are things that you draw on. And Big Morgan goes, City were men versus boys, slapped them again. And I think with regards to the whole class difference, with regards to the whole maturity difference, I think it was clearly on display in this match in their home. And I agree with what Big Morgan's pointing out. I believe I saw a stat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think now it's gone to league games, 11 games where Arsenal haven't gotten a win against us. Yes, they won in the FA Cup a few years back, but in league matches, it's been 11 matches straight that they have not gotten a win against us. And that's tremendous. You can't overlook it. The same way, I'm just last week was complaining about this whole playing at Tottenham Stadium curse. We're now looking at 11 matches versus Arsenal, and we haven't faltered. That's incredible.
This is why I never play into the Tottenham part, because there's always teams and stadiums everyone struggles at. I remember going 20 odd years and never getting anything at the Swamp, never getting anything at Anfield. It's just sometimes it can happen, but the thing is that hoodoo will break at some point. It will break. But the funny thing is about yesterday, I actually thought Arsenal played better last year.
Oh, that match.
I know giving Arsenal props, but I honestly thought that game in January last year, Arsenal, I came away from that going, we got away with one there.
Yeah. Late winner from Rodri.
Yeah. But let's be honest, Arsenal were all over us. They were all over us in that game. Mm-hmm. And yesterday, it was, and Big Marvin's at play, it was men versus boys. I just think, especially in second half, it was. Second half, we just took control of the game. Took control and showed our maturity, experience, our class, even 100%. Off the field.
I'm gonna bring Hamza. I see him backstage. I'm gonna bring him in, and this is the question I'm gonna throw at him. When you look at examples from yesterday, whether you're looking at the players on the pitch, you're looking at the manager, or you're even looking at the fans in the stands, can you point out examples of all three where you're like, a little classless? I'm not saying they're all horrible, but I saw a little classless moments that happened throughout that game. Hamza, thanks for coming to the show.
Yo, man, big up to Veta, man. Big up Martin. Hope you guys are doing well. So the question? Go on, Sevilla. What was the question? Sorry, mate.
No, it's all good. I'm saying, so I was pointing out that there was a difference in class between City and Arsenal, and I wonder if you have examples of where you saw a difference, maybe looking at manager to manager, or looking at players on the pitch to players on the pitch, or maybe even looking at instances where you saw the Arsenal fans and maybe a little lack of class with regards to that match yesterday. Any example would do.
One of the examples which, I could give was, with the De Bruyne incident when he was walking off, and obviously they were throwing plastic bottles at him, whatnot.
Speak to it. Yeah, speak to that.
Yeah, I think that just shows a level of class. I mean, you see our fans, we're not, we're patient. We're not them kind of people where we're gonna throw shit at people. Sorry, my language. We're not gonna throw stuff at the other players that are coming off. Well, that one's obviously off. There's not really much to say about that one. They're throwing stuff.
There isn't.
Yeah.
What did you think of KDB's handling of it, though?
He reacted perfectly.
Right?
He reacted perfectly. He took the mick. He was being let's say a shithousery, as they say in football. He was taking the mick. He was smiling at them because he knew how they were feeling. Right? He knew. He was looking at each and every one of them. He even gave a cheeky wink as well because he knows. He's crushing their dreams. We are crushing their dreams, and he handled it very well. But you mentioned, you mentioned one of them, Beta. You mentioned one thing about the Pep and Arteta, the comparisons.
Yes,
you can tell Pep wasn't, like he wasn't jumpy, he wasn't lively, he wasn't overreacting to decisions. He was very calm, which I noticed. But Arteta was walking back and forth. It looked like he was panicking.
Yeah,
he was really jumpy. Yeah.
We're definitely going to get into that within the show. Big Morgan goes, Arsenal fans left 5 minutes from the end. Horrible fans. You know what? Maybe the parking, maybe getting out of the car park is a little challenging over at Emirates Stadium. So I'm not going to hold that against them. But it's never a good look. And if you're going to do it subtly. Don't leave in masses. Talking more about the whole KDB instance is, and I spoke about it a little earlier with the maturity. The fact that he was calm, the fact that he had that smirk on his face, like, yeah, I got under y'all's skin, like, yeah, this is all you guys can really do, was absolutely amazing. I'm sure there's going to be hundreds of gifs and memes done up. I saw one recently where they kind of flipped it and had it seem like he was throwing beer to the crowd, like they were asking for it. So I love how he reacted to that instance and the hostile fans, because obviously they're doing their best. I'll give it to Arsenal fans. They're doing their best to cheer on their team, but obviously at the tail end when KDB got subbed off, they knew the result was the result. I'm gonna shout out these comments real quick as well. Abdallah goes, Arteta humbled by KDB. Now, we all remember, I saw it on TV, but the ball goes out of bounds. KDB goes to grab the ball, and what does Arteta do? A little cheeky 1-2 and pushes the ball away and attempts to make KDB look silly. KDB's reaction to not only put hands on Arteta and shove him when he went to get the ball, but as he got the ball and walked back to the pitch and kind of waved don't do that. What are you doing? It's not necessary. Don't do that.
He put his finger in, yeah.
Yes, put his finger in his face and said, "Nah, you don't do that, man. No, show some class." Was fantastic, and I think it continued on throughout that match. It spoke to the level where this is what we're going to play out. We're here for business. We're going to handle what needs to be done on the pitch in itself, and it was amazing. Martin,
Yeah.
when you see managers with their kind of like antics on the sideline, and I remember Arteta getting into a little bit of a theatrics and trying to overplay his influence on the sideline with Klopp last season, and it actually backfired because I think they went from in a moment where they were tied in the game, and then Liverpool just winning it outright. But when you see opposing managers acting up like that, does that fire you up as a fan when you're seeing it?
No, not really, because I sort of expect it a little bit. I don't play into all what goes on off the field. It's like with the fans part, because I'm not going to pretend our fans are innocent. We've done it in the past. We've thrown coins at Rio Ferdinand, sadly. Not me personally, but our fan base has. Liverpool thrown coins down on a 15-year-old girl. Sadly, it's something that's creeping into the game.
That actually scarred her, yeah.
It's creeping into the game. And then you heard the news last week that City are contemplating putting netting up around the away end.
Yeah.
You know, slowly, I've said it for a few years, we are slowly going back to the 80s in the English game a little bit. And where I will say about these managers are an example, and some of them are not setting that example. Fans will follow a manager. So if a manager's jumping up and around and, you know, having to go at players or doing what they're doing, they're part of the reason this is creeping back into our game. You know, these managers are role models. Yeah. And they've got to realise that they are the figure point. They have got cameras on them all the time, and they've got to behave. I'm not saying don't be passionate. I'm not saying don't react, you know, because we've seen Pep, especially at Anfield, getting all animated. Pep's the most animated at Anfield.
Pep's always like,
you know, we all know Klopp gets under Pep's skin. Anfield gets under Pep's skin. You can tell when he goes there. Because anywhere else he goes, he's calm. When he goes to Anfield, he becomes this unleashed, caged animal. I don't know what it is with Anfield.
I think at Anfield, he likes to wind them up. For whatever reason, he likes to wind them up.
They do it on purpose.
Yeah, and this is what I'm not saying don't be passionate and don't, but sometimes, you know, it's like about 3 times yesterday, Arteta's turning around and trying to G his fans up and everything else. And it's like, all right, calm down. What you doing? Yeah. You know,
we're definitely going to get. I'm going to get into that later on the show for sure. Yeah.
Just quick point to me. Arteta looked like, even in his post-match interview, he looked like a very desperate man. A very desperate man looking for situations.
You are, and you're stealing my thunder for later in the show. I should have cut you off. I should have cut you off when I had that vibe because I knew you're s- you're so good with this. I knew I should have cut you off short.
Martin
Um,
stealing the show.
you
It's
know
all
you
right.
got
I'll go mute.
no, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Vader game.
So this next topic, and I'm gonna throw this to Hamza because he knows, and if Adam were here, he would definitely chime in as well. But we often visit some of these Twitter spaces and have conversations with rival
Oh
fans.
God, yeah,
God,
So
yeah.
we said
there's a
that in
balance,
unison
right?
then.
Yeah, yeah, we did. But you know
Are you
what?
going to talk about this Twitter space from earlier, like you were in?
No, 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 no. I'm not gonna. No, I won't
Just in
address that
general, I think. I
directly.
think he's
But
talking
in
about in
general, yeah,
general.
just in
Yeah.
general. But what I want to point out is we can be in some of these Twitter spaces with the conversations, and it can be calm, and it can be great football conversation. And then depending on how the host or co-host, they may give speaker privileges to one person, and it's like a grenade just went off, and then the conversation is completely derailed. But the reason why I'm bringing it to the Twitter space and the conversations, and I know Hamza would understand this, is when we've been talking early in the season, like even before midway, even before the World Cup break, we were telling Arsenal fans, listen, yes, you guys are playing well. You guys are top of the league. It's amazing. But the way you're talking, the way you're carrying on, it's not that easy, guys. Winning this league is not that easy. I get it. You look like you're flawless, but let's respect the league for how competitive it is. Let's also respect the other teams in this league that are going to make winning this title difficult. And I've said this to Arsenal fans. Listen, you guys got to go talk to the Liverpool fans. You got to go talk to them. You got to understand why. You got to really talk to them and understand why this league is decided in the latter stages of this season, in the final, sometimes the final weeks, literally the final day, the final minute. And Arsenal fans refused to listen to that advice. They refused to listen to that advice. And if you saw the thumbnail that I put up, I talked about young manager, young squad, and a young fan mentality. There's a young fan mentality, and we've all seen the rounds. I'm not going to shout out the individual, that's for another time. We've all seen the rounds of one fan, really good following, have a complete unnecessary meltdown with regards to some criticism of his team. And it's that young mentality across the board, from squad to manager to fan base, that I think is going to be is that I think is going to make this w- attempt at winning this league so much more difficult. And Hamza, when you when you hear Arsenal fans that haven't really contested to win this league for 18 years speak to how, yeah, we're going to win it. What is City, what is everybody else with regards to this league? When you hear them speak that way, does it trigger you? Do you hear immaturity? Do you hear arrogance? What do you hear when with Arsenal fans being so dismissal?
I, what I hear is Veta, right? There is there is immaturity there. There's a lot of immaturity. I can vouch on that because obviously the perfect example you gave, young squad, young manager, and the fan base's mentality is very similar. I completely agree with you with that one. But when it comes to Arsenal, I feel like these Arsenal fans have got a hidden agenda with us because they seem to, every time I mention the league, or I don't really get triggered, Veta, because I know they're underestimating us.
Mm,
They don't know what it's like. And for me, I think it's the agenda, and it's a lot of, they're quite arrogant as well. And when I mean by arrogant, is when you give advice to them and say, listen, why don't you go to Liverpool fans and ask them? They'll say, oh, but Klopp's flopped it. Look at Liverpool
right.
now, all this stuff. But they need to understand Liverpool are a big club. Whether we like it or not, Liverpool are a big club. They
Hmm.
have 19 league titles. They've got 6 Champions Leagues. They were going back and forth with us for
Yeah.
4 or 5 seasons. They've got more experience than you. You've not been in this situation for a very long time. I
Great
think the
point.
last time they were in a similar situation was it that season when Leicester won the league, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
Exactly.
was the last time they've actually done that, and they seem to be very ignorant as well. They don't want to accept the truth sometimes. they always mention, for example, Veta. If I say to them, look, go to a Liverpool fan, I think you should, ask for some advice, what you think's best. Just ask them. They'll say, oh, you guys are just cheats anyway. You're not going to be here, all this stuff. And that just makes me think that I think it's an agenda. Because all the time they seem to, ever since this FFP thing's happened, it's a blessing in disguise for us. But for these guys, they're using that as an excuse. They're using it as an agenda. It's a hidden agenda for me, Veta, I think. There are some Arsenal fans that are reasonable. Obviously, I'm not going to say the names now, but there are some out there that, be like, you know what? I will ask a Liverpool fan. And I've had that. There was one guy, he did ask a Liverpool fan. He asked all of them. He goes, listen, what's this situation? Blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to yap on. But I think it's a hidden agenda, Veta. There's a very big hidden agenda with this fan base, with the Arsenal fan base.
No, I understand that. Martin, when you hear something like that with regards to how some, I'm obviously not labeling all, but how some Arsenal fans are so dismissive of, let's say, the failures of Liverpool in past years, what do you take from it?
It's just bravado. I would love to hear how many of these actually believe what they say, because I don't think they do. I don't think they actually do. What they're doing is, this is why I'm going less and less into, like you talked about, Twitter Spaces. I'm going less and less into them because you don't get an intelligent conversation anymore.
100%.
Yeah.
You just don't anymore. Since the news broke, and it was bad before it, but since the news broke, I've gone less because I thought there's no point anymore, because no matter, they don't want to listen to a football debate. They don't want to listen to one side of the conversation. They only want to listen to their side, and people who are gonna stroke their ego to help their side. And the other thing is, we have to realise the City fans outside of City, we're not going to get anything out of anyone. We're just not. The simple fact is, we have to accept, and that's why you'll see a lot of Twitter Spaces now of just City fans. Because it is now a siege mentality of it is just us. There was a guy on AFTV last night banging on about financial abomination. And then started quoting about Arsenal's legacy and former players. And I'm sat there screaming at my phone going, we won an FA Cup before you were even invented.
Yeah.
And the simple fact is, but it's like the history thing. You start talking about history to them, and then they go, who's interested in 50 years ago? So what they do is, when you give them an answer to a question that they don't like, they change the question.
Right.
So there's no point, because you're never going to win. You're never going to win. They've not listened to Liverpool fans. They've not listened to United. It's like United fans. United beat us in the derby, and they were in a title race for 48 hours, and they got all giddy. And then they went and got beat the week after, and they got, hang on a minute. And I'll be honest with you, with Arsenal, and do I think they're going to win the title? No. Do I think they're going to be in the top two? No.
Yeah. Well,
I don't even think they'll be in the top two for the rest of the season.
In all fairness, if there is a fan base that's the extreme and you can't talk to, it would be United fans, and running up very closely second place would be Arsenal fans. So I would agree with that.
They made Liverpool fans look intelligent.
Didn't they? It was crazy.
They did. This is the scary thing. Arsenal fans have made Liverpool fans look really intelligent, and I ain't got a lot of time for a lot of Liverpool fans, because at least they went, you know what? And it sounds awful. I have more respect for Liverpool than I do Arsenal, because Liverpool, that was their best team in years, and that was a proper toe-to-toe title race.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, we got Don Smoke in the building. Don Smoke, my guy, thanks for chiming in. We were briefly talking about the advice that we've been giving Liverpool fans, and the fact that they refuse to hear it. And I'm curious, because you're very smooth with it when you're addressing any rival, and I'm curious what kind of bravado or what kind of perspective have you been hearing from Arsenal fans in your circles?
It's funny, right? Because first evening, everyone, right?
Evening, man. Hope you're good, man.
Yeah, likewise, but normally the Arsenal fans that I know are down to earth because of not winning anything for a long time. Like
Okay.
my older brother is an Arsenal fan.
Okay.
I remember in '04, right? In '04 when they won the league, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was the last time I saw him happy, like footballing wise.
I got you. I got you. I got
Sorry,
you.
I had to laugh at that
No,
one.
no, because he paused. Because of that pause, it caught me. It caught me. But football wise, I hear you.
Right. So then, and they've been quiet, like minding their own business in the trenches. Like an old dog who's about to
Mm,
die, just minding his business. Like, you know what? I've done what I could with whatever was given to me, and then now I'm making peace. And then you have it's like, when you've been thirsty for too long,
mm-hmm.
rainwater seems divine,
Mm,
right?
mm-hmm.
And that's what Arsenal are tasting, is rainwater, right? And it takes
Yes.
time, right? That's why I said
Yeah.
give them time. Like once the rain stops, then they realize that, you know what, we're actually still in a drought. That's when that humility will kick back. Hence, look at Liverpool. Liverpool are humble now because they've seen what going toe to toe against City does to you.
Very good
Like
point.
That's
you
a
end
very
up
good
mid
point.
you
Yeah.
end up mid-table, right? And all you have is just, you know what, you talk about rebuilds. That's all you end up talking about is rebuilds. Because let's be honest, Ateta hasn't been made top four since he's been here. He
Yeah.
hasn't,
And that's
right?
what was driving me crazy with the lack of perspective and the you know what, let's play this out until the season goes. But it goes right back to the initial point. A young manager, a young squad. Arguably, I think they have the youngest squad in the league. But the way the fan base have been moving, the way they've been talking, the way they've been so dismissive, it speaks to youth. It speaks to immaturity. It speaks to just being young and reckless and not knowing any better. And I
Yep.
think I,
You know,
I think
Fraser,
Arsenal fans are going to have to learn the hard way.
the whole approach shows inexperience, because experience of a title race will tell you that you take this game by game.
Right.
That shows
Right.
experience. Like, ask any City fan, have we won the league? We're gonna say no, because we've been here before. We know how it's
Mm,
gonna change. Next week you're on top, and then we on top. This goes on until the last day. That's if you're good enough to stay in that race until the last day. That's why most of us are calm. Even hence,
100%.
like the thing is this: Arsenal has had the best start to a Premier League season yet
In history, Don,
in the
in their whole
history yet.
history, this is their best
Yes.
Yeah.
season.
And with the team having a crisis, yet we toe to toe with them. What does that tell you?
Mm-hmm.
The hair and the
Mm-hmm.
Right?
tortoise. Hair and the tortoise.
Yeah. So,
It shows
so what
levels. It
crisis
shows levels.
exactly? And at the moment, we're not even playing our best. Even the game on Sunday, we
Do
just we
you,
gave a
sorry,
champions performance. That's all we
exactly.
done. We gave it.
Yeah,
Go on.
Don. Do you guys not find it scary how, I think we're kickstarting now, but we've not properly kickstarted yet. We're not in that. We're not fully there yet, and we're still next to Arsenal, and Arsenal fans are just bragging on about
Hamza,
how good they
you,
are.
you,
We're not even we're not even at our
you
best
know
yet.
what's funny? What's funny, Veta, right? They
Mm.
asked Bernardo, right, what does he think of this Arsenal team? And he said it reminds us of a Man City. It reminds us of us 5 years ago. People
Okay.
didn't get it. Like, it meant that when we were still naive with a lot of energy,
Yeah.
and the keyword is being naive. Because if you saw what they done was they showed a lot of naivety, whereby it's not about just having the ball. And that's how we've been losing games in the past, whereby we'd have all this ball possession with nothing to show for it. Whereby we now know how to use the ball much more effective. Like, we don't always have to have the ball and we're not going to do anything with it. Let's be the team on the other side, whereby we play in transition and we pressure you into making mistakes. And people don't understand. Whenever there's a mistake, it means the opponents force you to make it.
Yes.
Defenders just don't just
Yeah.
wake up and, you know what, I'm gonna kick this
Yes.
ball into an open
Yeah.
space.
It's an unprovoked error. Yeah. Like there's no credit applied to the team
Yeah,
that's
like,
putting you in
because
those
the thing
difficult
is this:
situations.
Wait, you know what's funny? When Spurs beat us 1-0 at their ground, it was a
Yeah.
turnover. The headline was Spurs smashes City,
Yes,
right?
I remember that. Yeah.
Whereby,
Smash and grab.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
they
that's what they
said
said.
Spurs smash
They
City.
said
Whereby
smash.
when
Yeah.
we scored 3 goals, it was like it's more like City capitalized of Arsenal's errors. Then
Mm,
do you see where the biasness is? And it just shows you that
always. Always.
at the end of the day, there's a propaganda, right? There is a narrative that they're trying to push.
Hmm.
When our opponents
They
make,
wish to. Sorry, Don. Go on. Sorry.
I'm saying when our opponents make us make mistakes, it's more of, oh, they were good enough to make us make mistakes. When we do it, oh, it's the other team being sloppy.
Yeah. No,
They,
there's a clear bias, there's a clear emphasis with others versus us in terms of how we're portrayed within the media 100%. I want to shout out Big Morgan with the comments. He goes, "The league is a marathon as we know." Yeah, we know it. And we've been telling Arsenal fans. They've been refusing to listen. They've been refusing to listen. And the reason why I also want to draw it back to the whole youth, the immaturity is because when you're young, you're braggadocious. When you're young,
yeah.
you want to be boastful about the moment right here and now because you in the back of your mind you have doubt on whether you're going to have it again or you're going to have it later. So you make the most of it now, and that's how these Arsenal fans have been moving. We're gonna move on with the remainder of the show, and I'm sure that this is something that we're gonna revisit. Like I said, I'm working on something behind the scenes with regards to a second show that I want to bring to you guys, and it's really gonna live
I
within
see
that
that
space
smirk on
with
your
regards
face.
to yo.
It's
It's
gonna
gonna
be a
live
cooking.
within that space. It's gonna be nice. So let's hold tight. Let's hold tight. Let me do this cleanly.
Vader, Vader, Vader game.
Now, this show, my show, our show, would not be right if I didn't take time to acknowledge what we actually witnessed. All right. So we're going to call out what KDB did, what Holland did, and what Grealish did. And I'm gonna put this on screen again. YouTube. This is for analyzing. This is for breakdown. This is for a review. Do not copy strike me at all. This is strictly for review. I have here on the screen. I'm not sure if you guys see it. I got to kind of
Yep, we
condense
see
it
it.
for
Yep, we see
YouTube
it. Yep.
rules. But the one thing that I want to point out, and we have to remind everyone, is that KDB is one of a kind. I get it. I get it. Many of us in our own fan base want to compare him, want to put him in categories with other past greats. You can do that if you choose to. I know that KDB is great. We know that KDB is great. Does he need to be put next to someone else currently playing or some of the past greats? That's your choice. But I know that KDB is one of a kind. I've watched a lot of football, and yes, the 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 creativity, the ability to distribute the ball, right? The ability to manage game. You often hear Carl Gundelorian talk about quarterbacking the game and controlling pace. KDB does all that. Does he do it like past greats? Not necessarily. He does it his own way. He's one of a kind in what he does. There's no one else on this football world planet that I look at and say, you know what, they're one of the same coin. They're very similar in style. KDB is on his own, and I want to give this man his flowers for what is currently on screen. If you see this, okay, let me make sure I got this all properly adjusted here. If you see this on screen, ball's been flicked on from Holland. Okay, Tomiyasu's racing back to be able to get to the ball. Grealish is applying pressure to him. You see that close proximity Grealish has to try and win that ball. And like Don Smoke mentioned earlier, they want to often talk about errors as if they happen in a bubble, right? If there's no other external factors that cause it. But you see Grealish applying pressure to Tomiyasu. And that those two other players at the top, I believe that's Gabrielle and that's KDB racing back there. and strictly for review purposes, for analyzing purposes, YouTube, do not copy strike me, but we're going to watch this play out. And I had to stop it right there. KDB judged his stride. He didn't get a one touch. He didn't control the ball. He judged his stride, peeked up at where the keeper was, peeked up at where the net was, and used his weak foot and then kicked the ball. KDB, one of a kind. When you saw, I'm gonna throw this to you, Martin. When you saw KDB running, before he had kicked the ball, what maybe did you anticipate what you were going to see? Did you have an expectation of what you might have saw before he did what he did?
Yes and no, because at the time I was questioning Ramsdale's positioning. But
Okay.
I've come to the conclusion this is what modern day goalies do, which, funnily enough, I'm going to talk about more later on in my show about this modern day goalkeeping phenomenon of where goalkeepers are now. If you look, that pass actually was never on. If you actually look, an experienced defender blasts that into Rose Ed. That goes to Rose Ed and you reset.
Okay.
You bring everyone back in position and you go again.
Sorry, Martin, did you say a mature defender?
A mature, experienced defender.
A mature experience. See the theme that's going on here? Keep going, Martin.
That's what the first thing you say. If in doubt, kick it out. On the head to Rose Ed. Every single little anagram you can throw out.
Yeah.
Now, for a start off, you look at Gabriel and KDB's position. And KDB's goal side, Gabriel's nowhere near. Gabriel's not even on the right side to KDB for that ball to even go. So what Gabriel's even doing, I do not know. Tomiyasu does not know his surroundings. He's looking over, because if you look, it's actually a 2-on-1 situation with Grealish and KDB to Tomiyasu. Gabriel's not even on the right side for that. If you look where that ball's positioned, it's a 2-on-1. So immediately as that Tomiyasu ball's played, I went, he's here. I actually thought he was going to take it round Ramsdale.
Yes,
I didn't think he'd play it first time. That's why I threw it
to you to see what you might have.
I honestly thought he's going to knock it around him and put it in the empty net. Because what you expect Gabriel, because I think Gabriel expected that as well, because Gabriel starts running towards the goal, thinking that's going to go behind, very much like the Ake clearance was later on in the game. If you look, KDB runs on, he's expecting to take it around Ramsdale, put the ball in the empty net, and Gabriel's running to clear that ball off the goal line. Just the skill of it, the one-time thinking of it is exquisite. The bend, everything. And I'll be honest with you, I thought KDB was absolutely woeful up until that point. I thought he was woeful.
No, he was. Yeah, he was.
I thought he was anonymous out the game. He gave the ball away. He gave the ball away 4 or 5 times. I didn't think he was in the game.
Yeah, he gave away 2 really poor ones that actually resulted in a really bad break on us.
The interception in the midfield, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one hurt me. That one hurt me. But for how he was chasing things down, like the movement, when I see KDB actually putting in the mileage per se, I'm like, okay, he's on. But I agree with you. We didn't see this type of moment that was happening prior. Now I'm gonna throw this to you, Hamza. Yeah. When he makes the decision to make contact with the ball that he did, what's your reaction now? Did you read the flight of the ball and think it was going in?
Well, so as soon as he.
Oh, sorry, you cut out.
I'll be honest. When Tomiyasu, when Grealish was, wait, can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you now. Now I don't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Using Virgin Media.
Now I hear you. Now I hear you now. Yeah, I hear you now.
How do you know I'm using Virgin Media? How do you know? That's a bit scary.
Because I've got Virgin Media. I know what it's like.
Oh God. Well, basically, right. I'll just quickly throw it back. When Tomiyasu was getting pressed by Grealish, I called it to my dad. I said, "Dad, if Tomiyasu passes it back now, I'm telling you, we're gonna get this. We're gonna score." As soon as he passed it, And then I didn't expect, as Martin said, I didn't expect KDB to obviously just shoot like that.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to go around the keeper as well and, make it easy for himself. But when he shot with his left foot, I was like, no way has he done that. And the fact that he spun it and it's right next to the post and it's gone in, it's like, what?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I did not expect that, Veta. I thought he did it first time, and it's his left foot as well. It's not. It's his weak foot.
And this is what's wild. I'm gonna throw this to Don Smoke. No matter what is happening with KDB, the man still moves with ultimate confidence. Like you don't attempt that unless you have absolute belief in your ability. Despite, like we mentioned, a few passes that misplaced passes or poorly weighed passes. You know what I mean? Like, can Don Smoke, can you speak to KDB and just the fact that he's like, you know what? No, I know I could do this. I'm taking this.
You see, Rita, I always tell people like KDB is a moments player, right? You're not gonna get consistency from KDB throughout a game, but KDB, the reason why he's important to be on the pitch, because he's that guy. He can create a moment out of nothing. Look at that United game, that assist to Grealish, or even that last goal. And you knew the moment Gundogan put him through that there was only one place.
Stop it. We're getting there. We're getting
back to this. Now the thing is this.
Everyone's trying to steal Veta's show. I think
no.
I'm the only one that hasn't yet.
I knew Veta. The thing is this. I knew he's gonna shoot when he looked at the board. If you see KDB, this is a trick about KDB. If you look at KD, to know when KDB is gonna strike the ball, he looks down, doesn't look at the goal. Look at that. Okay, closer. You're gonna see him look at the ball. Doesn't even look at he looks at the ball. Look at him even when he's providing his assist. He looks at the ball. And that's when you know he's gonna strike. And the thing is this. When it comes to accuracy of passes, it doesn't get better than KDB. We've seen him strike thunderbolts with either foot, and at times you can't even tell which is his stronger foot. The moment he looked at the
times to Chelsea,
he first looks at the
Arsenal.
keeper, then looks at
He's done it to Arsenal.
then you know what's going in, and for me it was either it's going to hit the post or it's going in.
Yeah.
There is no one out of wanted, and the thing is people don't appreciate KDB's intelligence of knowing when to shoot, when to pass, when to delay. His awareness of his spatial awareness. He knows where he is on the pitch and where everything is around him. And when it comes to attacking midfield, I always tell people KDB is the best midfielder in transition.
Definitely.
I think Grealish needs a lot of praise in that as well, because he's the one who puts Tomiyasu under that pressure to do that. If Grealish is not there,
definitely.
Tomiyasu's got night and day to do whatever he wants. And that was the difference between a Grealish and a Saka yesterday. I didn't see Saka putting any pressure, chasing lost causes, and that's what I like to see from Grealish. He will chase a lost cause, because technically that flick on from Haaland wasn't actually going anywhere. If that's used in the experienced way, that ball is cleared and that chance doesn't even develop. But it's Grealish putting Tomiyasu under that pressure, which forces Tomiyasu to make an error, and it was an error, for KDB to even get that chance.
Yeah.
Grealish's off the ball movement is amazing. Like, when he presses, because they know how they play. Obviously, Man City know how Arsenal play. They'll start from the back. They play very similar to us. So Grealish knew, exactly. Like he knew, he thought, you know what? Let me press him. KDB read it completely. As soon as I saw KDB running, I knew he read it. He knew they were going to pass back to the keeper and they were going to restart, and that's why we scored. We anticipated it.
I want to be cognizant of the time because we're looking at just almost.
I'm gonna have to run back.
I don't want to close in on Martin's time, and I want to encourage everyone that's watching now to be able to leave here and get to Martin's show, the Mancunian way. Now I got to give proper praise. I got to give proper praise to the next one as well. And YouTube, do not copy strike me. This is strictly for analysis, and it's just play breakdown. So on the screen right now, we've got the second goal. Okay. and I'm gonna point this out. We've heard this so many times. If Haaland isn't scoring, he's ineffective. If Haaland isn't banging in goals or getting service in the box, he's a non-factor. Haaland doesn't have the ability to be a part of build-up play or support in the midfield. I'm gonna play out.
Quoting your Twitter space from earlier.
No, but I was on a roll in that Twitter space, and I was dealing with them. So I'm in good form lately. I want to point out this example with regards to Haaland, especially, and I love the fact that we're able to kind of do these as a group. But we're obviously watching in real time. We're seeing opportunities here, and I'm gonna let this play out. I'm gonna throw this to you, Don Smoke. Actually, Martin, you got to go, so I'm gonna throw this to you really quickly, and then Don Smoke. But let this play out, and then just tell me what comes to mind for you. Oh, and before I do that, I want to shout out Clinical. Clinical goes, when he hit it, and he's talking about KDB. When KDB hit it, I thought, damn, he missed, but at least he went for it. And I still can't believe it went in. That was an incredible. He put some English on that ball, the way it spun and got into the net, and the confidence to do it. It was absolutely amazing. So let me play this out for you guys real quick. Ball gets played in. Haaland runs onto it, gathers it, is aware that Gundogan is with him, and Gundogan. He didn't dummy it because he did control the ball, but he no-looked that ball over to Grealish. And then what did you think of that? What did you think of that build-up? What did you think of the strike? What did you think of the result, Martin?
Well, that's my whole part of what I said yesterday about the midfield being the actual battle yesterday. Because Arsenal were going for the press, closes down, no gaps. And what we managed to do yesterday, especially second half when we changed it, was we made Arsenal draw to the ball too much. And if you look in that clip at the very beginning, 3 or 4 plays go to the one player, which leaves Haaland totally open then. They totally ignored that. They totally ignored Haaland because in their head, that ball's not going to Haaland. They're going to close that down quick enough before that ball goes there. They don't. As soon as that ball gets played through to Haaland, they're all in trouble because they're all backpedaling. They're all absolutely in panic stations and backpedaling. 4 or 5, if you look, have all been drawn to the ball. They're not in position. They're all out of position. They've hit the panic button. The ball to Gundogan. Now, every single one of them are expecting Gundogan to strike that. But this is where you know about your team and going back to that word maturity and knowing where everybody is on the pitch, where Gundogan just totally does it and Grealish comes in and goes, thanks very much. And if you look, the reason why Grealish is unmatched, again, because everyone's gone drawing to the ball, they're all like bees round honey. They've all gone sniffing the honey and all gone running to it, lost total composure, lost their shape completely, and it just left everyone. And this is why I was praising Haaland so much yesterday, because what I'm seeing from Haaland now is not just scoring goals. What Haaland did yesterday, he was not doing a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Haaland would have been stood in the box, waiting for the ball to come to strike. Now he's coming deeper. He's learning. You can see exactly what Pep Guardiola is doing with him. You can see his game adapting so much in the last 2 games, which is why I've said I think Haaland's best 2 performances have been at Villa and Arsenal. And
I agree.
He's only scored 1 goal. But a simple fact is, he's now affecting the game off the ball as well. He's making runs. He's drawing players out of position. And that's what, when we get going, we do that better than any other team in this league. We can draw you out of position. We can destroy your game plan on movement. Forget the ball. So, yeah, we only have 36% possession. But what we did, we had 36% possession. That was crucial. It was clinical.
Yeah.
And we destroyed you. And there's the maturity.
I love it. I love it. Now,
anyway,
everyone make sure.
An absolute...
No. I'm doing this. This is my show. Everyone, make sure that you're subscribing to the Mancuning Way. Martin, is an absolute legend. He attends games when he can. If not, he's always watching them, and he provides a great perspective. Go over. He's going to be live shortly, so go to the Mancunian Way. After you've been watching my show, go over to his, support it 100%. And Martin, thanks for being on the show, my friend.
No, you're a legend. Hamza, thank you. Don, take care.
No worries, bro.
Give this
Take
guy
yourself.
a subscribe, like, and we'll see you all shortly. Thank you.
Yeah, man. 100%.
No worries, man.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
Take it. Vader, so regarding this goal, right?
Yes.
What Gundogan does, right, is almost as important as the goal. Now this
Speak to
is the importance of reputation, right? Gundo has a reputation of that late run into the box, and that's where he
Mhm.
scores his goals. So now the thing is, this is also what kicks into immaturity. At the end of the day, players are humans, and as humans, we act of instinct, right? Especially we act of instinct, especially if certain things are untrained or there's no habits of certain things. We will go with our instinct, and that at the end of the day, a defender's instinct is to try go and block the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what Gundo does is he pulls the attack towards him and the attention towards him as a disguise for the dummy, knowing that Grealish is gonna come and he'll have a better path or better chance of scoring. Because if Gundo kicks that, he's kicking against some Arsenal bodies and the keeper's expecting that. Right. So then now that it pulls everything in one direction. And then all Grealish has to do is hit the target.
That is all that he had to do, and I want to hear this from you and Hamza, because we've seen in past games where that ball would get to Grealish's foot, but it wouldn't be a one-time strike. So we were just praising KDB because not only did he judge it was a lot more difficult in terms of judging the pace of the ball and getting the angle that he did to score that goal. But the fact is, he hit that one time. He made that decision quick. He was aggressive. We've been a little, or I'll speak for me, I've been pretty critical of Grealish to be a little hesitant, unsure of himself, taking one too many touches. The fact that ball got, like, Gundogan put that ball to him and he kicked it one time. Can either of you speak to that?
Yes, I don't want to jump the gun though, right? Because then this has to do with Pep's latest tactic, and I see you have a point with Pep is an old dog with new tricks. Right?
Okay, good point. Then let me maybe Hamza, anything you want to add? Because then I'll go to Haaland's goal.
Go to Haaland's goal.
All right, let's go to
said how
Haaland's
it
goal.
is. Let's go to Haaland's goal.
All right, let's go to Haaland's goal.
That goal.
Let me do this.
The way I've got loads to say about that, man.
All right. Okay, let's put this on screen now. Little setup here. Gundogan with the ball. To his right, you see KDB. Center, slightly center. Back to goal, you see Haaland. And then at that far left, that's Phil Foden. All right. It's four City players. And look, and I believe Silva is probably far right, off screen right now.
Yeah.
But it's four City players that you can see in close proximity to the ball. And look at the number of red jerseys. All right? Look at the number of red jerseys. We're going to play this out. YouTube, do not copy strike me. This is strictly for analysis and a breakdown. Gundogan draws on a defender. Draws on two defenders before he chooses to release the ball. And you see the run that KDB happens to take. He goes inside on what looks like Zinchenko. I think that's Saliba that's racing back there, or maybe it's Gabriel. I can't tell. But they're racing back, and you see Haaland just in that half circle, looking to stay onside. Ball's played to KDB, and like I mentioned, Silva, I think you can see the top of his head at the bottom right corner of the screen, but Silva's out there. Ball gets played to KDB. Does KDB doesn't even take a touch. He lets the ball roll, and then he squares up, and then he squares it across. And I believe that's Gabriel, I think. Gabriel hands behind his back, and he looks to provide a block. It gets past him. KDB gets it to him, and it gets to Haaland. Look at what Haaland does. Controls it with his left. And we all know, the rivals you may not know. Those that are casual fans may not know. But Haaland's strong foot is his left foot. He controls it with his left, puts it back onto his right, and I believe that is no, yeah, that is Saliba. I think puts it on
No,
his
it's
right.
Gabriel. I think it's
It is
Gabriel.
Gabriel. Okay,
It's
it is
Gabriel. Yes,
Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Haaland controls it with his left, puts it back on his right, basically stuns the keeper. Keeper doesn't know what to do, and by the time it gets past him, it's too late. Ball's in the back of the net. Um, what was driving me crazy when I went back and watched this was the quality of the players to be able to do that when they were absolutely strictly outnumbered. Look at the number of red jerseys. I'm gonna count them real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red jerseys in that 18-yard box versus Gundogan, Phil Foden, Haaland, and I believe KDB actually ran off the pitch because his momentum took him off the pitch, running behind the line. But that is absolutely quality and what you want any team to be able to do, to be able to score against the numbers. Hamza, sorry, go ahead, Don.
Okay, no, later can go. Right.
Okay.
I was gonna explain to people why we sold Jesus and Sterling.
Ooh, okay, yeah. chill on that one. Hamza, when you saw this third goal, what just speak to what came to mind, whether it was a play breakdown, whether it was reaction to the fact that a third goal was scored. Where were you at when this happened? What was your reaction?
World class. That was absolutely world class. The movement, the way Gundo releases the ball to De Bruyne, like, you know, 2 men were trying to get onto Gundo, but then Gundo thought, nah, there's 2 people coming at me. I'm still gonna release this ball. And then KDB's running, and then Zinchenko and I believe it was Gabriel, or I think it was Gabriel. They were both trying to double up on De Bruyne as well, but that didn't work. So De Bruyne just released the ball to Haaland. But the one thing that really got to me was Haaland's movement. Because he knew what was going to happen. He didn't, because normally he'd go, where Phil Foden is right now, around that area. Normally he's there sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of times he'll be at the end. But his movement was amazing. I think he dummied Gabriel a bit because he was running and then he stopped all of a sudden. So he fooled the defender. And the way he just touched the ball with his left foot and bang, it was 2 touches. I'll be honest with you, Veta, I did not expect him to score like that. I thought there was going to be a goal, but I thought, nah, there's no way he's just scored like that. He's hit it with his left foot and straight away on his right foot, he's just got it in. And, it was really good. It was really good movement from Haaland and De Bruyne as well. It was amazing. The way it's just the way Haaland, he made it look so easy. But that is actually really difficult because you can see in the video, De Bruyne's ball is quite hard. He's hitting to Haaland very hard. So Haaland's had to control it. A lot of strikers can't do that.
100%. A lot of strikers will kind of panic in the moment. The game doesn't slow down for him. But the fact that he was like, you know what? Yeah, I can take a touch here. And what I always admire about him as a striker is we've seen others that just put the ball on net. He actually picks out a spot where he's going to place the ball. Like so some strikers just blast it, or they just want to get contact and put it on and net, and then sometimes it's too centralized. I've seen this man, and Alvarez does this extremely well as well in terms of picking out spots, whether it's top corner, bottom corner, making it difficult for the keeper. That one touch froze the keeper, and then he picked that spot, and by the time he kicked it, it was way too late. This build-up from Gundogan to KDB to Haaland, the involvement from the players was absolute class and quality. Now, Don Smoke, you want to talk about past players and
No, it's to do with this, right? At the end of the day, what separates world-class strikers from the good ones or average ones is composure in front of goal, right? The world-class strikers always seem to have more time than the other ones.
Good point.
Right.
Good point. Yeah.
In the sense that any other striker loses, it's either the defender takes the ball away from him after that first touch, or he scuffs it, hits it. Now the thing is this: if that's Jesus or Sterling, they hit that ball at the keeper because they're just hitting it. Whereby if you see with Haaland, he places at a place whereby the keeper doesn't even move. It's pointless attempting it. Because at that proximity, the keeper is in a move of reflex. So if
Yeah.
it's anywhere, uh, it's gone. And regarding that move you saw is typical City. When we play at our best, the brainer knows. And if there's one player who's capable of that pauser, Pep calls it the pauser, is Gundo.
Mm.
It's as if
Hmm.
he pauses for a moment and he resumes. So it's more of changing the tempo of play.
Yeah.
So what Gundo is doing there, he's buying time for KDB to position himself. And
Great point.
an inexperienced midfielder just passes the ball because there's too much pressure. Whereby with Gundo, he's kind of toying with Arsenal. Okay, I'm gonna pass. I won't. So it's like okay, they're holding off to see what will he do. Then when he
Yeah.
sees okay, the timing is now perfect. It's all about timing. You pass it too early or too late, that ball is gone and the chance
Yeah.
is lost. It's all
It's
about
almost
timing.
like, yeah, and it's almost like he makes sure, because KDB is kind of starting from almost from a dead start. He doesn't quite have the momentum and the speed yet. So it's almost like he waits for KDB to get to the right pace before he releases that pass as well. And he also puts everyone in extreme pressure because KDB gets on almost at the edge of that back defensive line. So he's making Gabriel have to decide where is he going to go. It's great display of
KDB,
team
that's what
play.
I'm saying. KDB, he knows. If you look at him, he doesn't even look at who's in. He just looks at the ball. It's like, okay, I'm trying to hit the ball at this spot and at this pace. Because
Mm,
the thing is, that when there's so many bodies in the box, you can't hit the ball too soft or too hard.
yes,
The, the pace has to be perfect. That's why it's excellent. That's what makes Haaland's first touch even more extraordinary. Because he has
I
to
agree.
slow it down.
Yeah,
Because at that pace, normally you have to hit it first time. But he slows it down to get this is a well crafted goal. And this is the goal whereby you just keep quiet and the game is done. And Arsenal knew it. When we scored this goal, we just
yeah,
hated them. Because you can't
yeah.
blame this on anyone. You couldn't blame this
No,
goal.
it's just too good.
I
This
think
goal
it
is just
comes down. It comes down to mature at the end. Sorry, Don. Sorry for interrupting, brother. I just want to say
Speak
one
to it,
quick point.
Hamza.
It comes down to, like, you know how Haaland there. He's free as a defender. You don't leave a striker like Haaland free. You need to have somebody man marking him, and it comes down to maturity.
Yeah.
As a defender, if you saw an experienced defender there, Gabriel and Saliba, they're great defenders. They've been phenomenal this season. I'm not gonna, slate them. They've been phenomenal. But if they had somebody there with experience, for example, like a Chiellini or a Ramos or somebody like that, somebody with loads of experience, they are
Hmm.
not leaving Haaland like that for free because
Yeah.
they know he's dangerous. He scores goals. It comes down to maturity at the end of the day, because if there was a defender that was mature enough, no way Haaland would have got a chance on that ball. They would have marked him.
no, but
100%.
Hamza.
100%.
Wait, you see now the thing, the tricky part is this. This is what makes us more dangerous. At the end of the day, you can't leave KDB isolated as well.
Yeah, you
KDB
can't,
as well. Yeah, KDB as
Because
well.
now the
because
thing is this:
KDB would kick that
KDB can
across the
shoot.
net too.
KDB can shoot that at that far post. So it's
Yes.
that thing whereby you damned if you do and you damned if you don't. And this is whereby an experienced defender, to your point, would pick his battle. And you know what? In this moment, which is the much more dangerous threat? Which is the bigger threat here? And then here,
Mhm.
whereby it's Holland, you can't leave Holland in the box alone. That is criminal. So at the end of the day, man. So this is I don't even blame the defenders. I blame Arsenal fans. And the reason why I tell you this is this: the term
Okay.
world class gets thrown too easily. World
Oh
class.
yes.
Oh, he's a world class
Yeah.
defender. Oh no, he's just in good form, or is
Yeah.
having a purple patch. For you to
Yeah.
be world class, you have to prove it over a consistent period of time, and there has to be accolades attached
One
to it.
hundred percent. 100%. There's no this world class form. Like, stop that. He had a good game, or he's had two good games. It's not. We're not going to then throw around this world class in terms of like little periods of time. I 100% agree. And this, I want to put this one comment on screen, and this is actually a great problem that I have, that I promise everyone that's watching now, everyone that's going to be watching on the replay, I promise I will get back to these last two topics. I didn't realize where I got to with regards to the time, but as you know, I got to go quickly run and scoop up my two from school. But I want to point this out because it's a great comment to kind of sign off. I will address the fact that Arteta showed effects of the pressure in that game. I'm going to deal with that. I'm definitely going to talk about that on the next show. I'm also going to talk about, and let me take this off screen as I do that though. I'm also going to talk about the fact that Pep and Don Smoke comes. I hope I can get you on the next show.
I'll be there. I'll be there. Don't worry. I'll be there.
I want to talk about Arteta showing the cracks, showing that he was negatively affected by the pressure in this game. And I also want to point out that old Pep, old City, despite being old dogs, in this game against the league leaders Arsenal's, we saw new tricks. We saw new tricks come from our manager, and we saw our players play in multiple roles. One to really call out with regards to Ake as well as Bernardo Silva, the way they were the interchange in terms of play between left center back and left back between the two of them was absolutely masterful, and we're going to talk about that on the next show. But this comment I want to put on screen as we sign out. Singing the Blues goes, Kevin's reaction to the flying bottles was a metaphor for City's response to the Premier League charges. So cold, man. The man dealt with it like a champ. And I agree with you. That is a metaphor that we can actually see. Cool, calm, and collected. Nothing was phasing KDB. You could have done your worst to him. The man was on point. And that's how we've been as City fans. That's how the players have been and how our manager is, as well as the organization. I want to shout out Martin, Don Smoke, Hamza for being a part of the show. Everyone that's watching now, make sure you go check out the Mancunian Way, check out Pitch Points, and check out True City Fan. All of their channels are in the description of this video, so shout them out and support their channel. Martin, I'm sure, is probably live and going live shortly. And I want, again, love my peeps. You know, first things first, my peeps always come first. This is episode 67 of Why Always Me. Arsenal suffer a embarrassing loss at home. They were gifted that pen. It should have been a 3-0 skunking of them in their own house. If you've seen Dave Chappelle, we rolled in there like Rick James, dirty boots and all, stomping all over their couch. That's what we did to Arsenal. Much love. We'll be back with a bonus show. Trust me. And much respect, guys. I'm out.
Great show.
No worries. Great show. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.